carryover of something that should have been dead 65 million years ago.
Bob, listen to yourself. You are a distinguished physicist, engineer, lawyer, and you are sitting here telling me that there's a dinosaur in this lake.
Not quite. I'm saying there was a remnant of one, at least in 1975. Absolutely telling you that.
That was 60 Minutes' Scott Pelley interviewing late MIT scientist Bob Rines back in 2001 about his belief in the Loch Ness Monster, Scotland's most famous and enduring mystery.
That's what you actually saw?
Yes.
How big was it?
Oh, as big as a bus.
Well, it's back in the news again, thanks to a discovery made thousands of miles away. Nessie, as she's known, has been part of Scottish folklore in 1933 after a series of alleged sightings and photographs. Looking for a plausible explanation, some claimed she was the descendant of the plesiosaur, a long-necked aquatic dinosaur. And that idea just became a bit more plausible. Paleontologist.
He so wanted to find the Loch Ness
Monster.
Yes.
The captain said he didn't think so.
I know. Kirsten is just like, well, is it the tooth fairy? I see something. Guys, we're talking about the legendary search for the Loch Ness Monster. Trying to answer that age-old mystery. Maybe it's real. Maybe the Loch Ness Monster is real.
Well, so a new study says it's plausible.
Okay.
Researchers recently found fossils from a dinosaur-aged marine reptile called plesiosaurs, which have been the inspiration for the Loch Ness Monster. Here's the big revelation. Those fossils were found in an ancient freshwater riverbed.
Is that what it's supposed to look like? Was that...
Supposedly.
Seen in water, and even on land throughout the centuries. Even the most famous photograph of it has proven to be a hoax, yet it still grows to be even a bigger legend as time goes by. But what the fuck exactly is the Loch Ness Monster? Is it a big-ass eel? Possibly just a big fucking fish? Or is it something even more fascinating, such as a goddamn plesiosaur? Welcome, my friends, to the Lair of Darkness. I am your host, the Dark Lord. Today I will be discussing the legendary kick-ass Nessie. Pigtails surrounding Loch Ness have been claiming that there is something very elusive living in the dark, murky waters of the lake dating back to at least 565 AD, also known as the legend of St. Columba, but I will get to that in a minute. The Scottish indigenous people, known as the Picts, were known to have carved pictures of creatures they had encountered in their journeys. However, pictures they had made around Loch Ness Lake caused a little bit more controversy due to the fact that one of the carvings claimed to have a mysterious sea beast carved into it. Picts' carvings of the creature seemed to me the most interesting, significant evidence of the Loch Ness Monster to date, until the 6th century AD, when the St. Columba legend began. Before we get to that, however, let me begin by revealing the origin of the name. The name Loch Ness Monster originated in an article published in August 1933 detailing the account of an alleged sighting by a man named George Spicer. And after several eyewitnesses came forward claiming to have encountered a supposed monster fish, sea serpent, and dragon, finally the name the Loch Ness Monster was chosen. But between you and me, since the Loch Ness Monster has never been proven to have attacked anybody besides the man in the St. Columba story, it should be called the Loch Ness Creature, seeing as it doesn't seem to be an infamous animal. Though I have to admit that Loch Ness Monster is far more catchy and makes more sense than creature. Now finally, in 565 AD, St. Columba began the legend itself. But what exactly did he do to make the Nessie legend so goddamn awesome? I'll explain that right now. In 565 AD, the Irish monk known as St. Columba was living in the Pictish lands of the Scottish Highlands, near Loch Ness, with his companions. One day he came across a group of Picts burying a man beside the loch. They explained to him that the man had been supposedly swimming in the loch when suddenly he had been attacked by some sort of water beast that apparently mauled him underwater, and despite the Picts' attempts to rescue the man by boat, they were forced to watch as the man was dragged underwater and devoured. The creature responsible was known and called by the locals Nessij, or however that's pronounced. After this incident occurred, St. Columba had a follower named Luigi Macumin make an attempt to swim across the lake to the other side. Now, within seconds, the water beast prepared to attack, but St. Columba made the sign of the cross and yelled, "Go no further! Do not touch the man! Go back at once!" The beast then retreated back to the depths and disappeared. Columba's men and the Pictish people gave thanks and described this incident as a true miracle. Now, as early as the 6th century AD, most believers in the Loch Ness Monster point a sharp finger to this story as proof that Nessie lives among us. But unfortunately, many skeptics claim that so-called water beast stories revolved around many medieval hagiographies, such as St. Columba, and that believers simply use stories like this one just to prove that Nessie is real. It is also sometimes claimed that this incident is what drove Scottish Picts to Christianity and made the Loch Ness Monster a true legend. Now, before the monster itself rose to international fame in 1933, there were two other eyewitness reports claiming that they had seen something unusual occurring in the loch. The D. Mackenzie report, published in October of 1871, claimed they had witnessed something looking like a log or a capsized boat causing ripples to churn in the water. The Alexander MacDonald report claimed that he had seen a strange, stubby-legged creature emerge from the loch and move at intense speed within 50 yards of the shore where MacDonald stood. He also claimed that the object resembled a giant salamander. Now finally, on May 2nd, 1933, an article was released that sparked even greater interest in the monster called the Aldie Mackay incident. According to Mackay, he saw what appeared to be a large creature that appeared to have a body of a whale rolling in the loch while him and his wife rode near the shores on April 15, 1933. This incident was believed to be the first article that the term monster was used to describe the animal itself. Also, on July 22, 1933, a couple named George Spicer and his wife came forward claiming that they had seen the most extraordinary creature they had ever seen cross the front of their car and leaving nothing but broken and crushed brush in its wake. And as it had an animal in its mouth, it was obviously hunting. According to the man named George Spicer, before he was able to see the most of the creature, it swiftly disappeared into the log before Spicer was unable to fully identify the creature. Spicer's report of the creature was published on August 4th, 1933, which led to massive public interest in Loch Ness Lake and caused the name Loch Ness Monster to be submitted to the creature itself, or coined if you prefer. In early in 1933, it has been said that more sightings of the so-called Loch Ness Monster increased after a road was supposedly built along Loch Ness. However, this was described as a myth of the Lonely Loch, seeing as it was far from isolated because of the construction of the Caledonian Canal. The final claimed sighting of the monster was seen in a photograph taken by Hugh Gray on November 12, 1933, near Foyers, Unfortunately, this creature most likely depicts a dog walking near the loch, seeing as Gray was walking his Labrador at the same time this picture was taken, and contains what looks like a dog's head and body. After the Hugh Gray incident, another eyewitness named Arthur Grant, a motorcyclist, claimed he almost struck an animal that resembled a cross between a seal and a plesiosaur while approaching a brush-in at 1 a.m. in the morning on January 5th, 1934, after which he immediately climbed off his motorcycle and followed it to the loch, but it had disappeared into the loch before anything else could be done. After this incident, since he was unable to take a picture because the monster is a quick little bastard, Arthur Grant drew a sketch of the creature he had supposedly encountered, but unfortunately was unable to convince most people that what he saw was a dinosaur, as most believed it to be an otter or seal due to its appearance, behavior, and light conditions. After these sightings and encounters with the monster itself in 1933, that same year a goofy circus owner named Bertram Mills offered a $20,000 reward to anybody who could capture the beast alive, so that he could be used for his traveling circus. Unfortunately, Nessie is far too elusive for people to fulfill that request, so the plan went to shit. Anyway, another question people might pester me with is how old is the Loch Ness Lake itself? Because if it can harbor a monster, it's obviously an old fucking lake. The lake itself was formed over 2 million years ago, during the time of the last ice age. Glaciers melted, causing ocean water to flow into the fords. When this happened, all the goddamn ice disappeared, causing land to rise, and the ocean water filling up fords, causing them to become lakes. After thousands of years of evolution, the ocean water became fresh water, leading the sea monsters to evolve and adapt to different environments. However, we do not know for a solid fact if sea monsters mean prehistoric monsters as well, and we may never know that. Now let me ask you this. Is Loch Ness the only lake in the world that may contain a prehistoric sea monster, or are there other lakes that may contain something unusual as well? The answer will be revealed in part 2 of this discussion, which of course will be continued. In the meantime, ciao bitches!